Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. I want to start this with an experience. Yesterday, I purchased a cover for my mobile phone. I ordered it on the Amazon and I got it within a day. When I used it, I feel so happy. And if any of my friends ask me, they also need a cover for their mobile phone, I will recommend this brand. Every time I handle this, I feel so happy. It is not how we feel when we purchase a product. But what is even more important is how do you feel every time you use the product. Otherwise, the product will be there. Your money will be there. But you will not be willing to pay for that particular product. So there has to be something happening between you and the entrepreneur who made this. I don't know who made this. There is no brand even. There is absolutely no brand. Today when you go to the market, mostly you see branded items, whether it is soap, whether it is mobile phone, whether it is a television. Mostly there are brands. But these days, there are a lot of products available without a brand. I'll give an example. Originally, when the computers came, people went for a branded computers. The computers are made with the technology. The hardware engineers opened the computer, ripped open, and found that the parts are available. What is required is only assembling it. And some did research where to get those parts. Let's say there are about 200 parts. The 200 parts are available. They can easily find out how to assemble it. Then came the assembled computer. But then people thought a branded computer is better than an assembled computer. Why? This entrepreneur who has branded himself, he would have also started as an assembly entrepreneur. Ultimately established a brand. So the branding is important and the customer satisfaction is important and the customer delight is so very important. So I'm going to discuss the various functions. You see this slide. This is the slide I showed you last time. It gives the overall summary of the functions of an entrepreneur. Now, let me go into the details of the functions of an entrepreneur. The first portion of it is the entrepreneurial function. Basically, it involves about innovation. How do you make a product? How do you give a shape for your product? How do you continuously innovate? If you Google search and find out the history of telephones, you will find the first ever telephone with two pieces. One piece for the ear, one piece for the mouth, to what telephones are today. This is also a telephone. That was also a telephone. Both of them are just a tools, a gadget to communicate. See how people have innovated. various things. There are a lot of changes. How much of integration has taken place? Is it a telephone? Is it a camera? Is it a video camera? Is it a music system? Is it a computer? What is this, if you really ask? And there are so many apps are loaded into this, which will give you a satisfaction 100 times more than the satisfaction you received from the original telephone. This is the idea of innovation. So the most important function of an entrepreneur is continuously innovate. Thinking portfolio. And it is just not the thinking portfolio alone. The thinking of an idea, investigating into the idea, and arriving at a product or services based on the idea, manufacturing it and reaching it in all the places. The entrepreneur function is there. In that, the most important thing is risk taking. Without risk, there is no life. That's what I was giving the quotation of Zuckerberg. The maximum or the most critical, the most dangerous risk is not taking the risk. Where there is no risk, even if you walk on the road, there is a risk. So can you say, just because walking on the road is risky, I will not walk? You have to walk. In fact, today, there is no security. Even in a job, there is a risk. All of a sudden, you may be rendered surplus by the organization. In the book, there is a beautiful example is given. It's the story of Dhirubhai Ambani, who is the founder of Reliance. He risked. He talks about going to a piece of land with all his people, and he's asking them, can we cultivate mango trees here? And all the people are saying, no, it cannot be done. Because in this particular land, mangoes will not grow. So mangoes will not grow in this land. So to grow mangoes, you have to invest money. So there is a risk. And Dhirubhai Ambani said, this is exactly the reason I want to produce mangoes in this very land in which you are saying it's not possible. He purchased that land. Today, in that land, which is about 2,000 acres, they are harvesting huge quantity of mango, which is one of the sweetest mangoes, Alfonso. See the risk taking. I'll give one more example. Way back in 1960s, an entrepreneur goes to Hosur. You know where is Hosur? Near Bangalore. He stands in the bank of a lake along with his brothers, and he is asking his people, can I acquire about 100 acres of land here? And his brothers were asking him, why, do you want to start a real estate company? He said, no. I want to start manufacturing a moped. A moped. You know what a moped is? We talk about TVS 50, we talk about earlier Suvega, right? So 50cc powered bike, moped. And he said, I want to be the largest manufacturer of moped in the world. People did not believe him. But he then went ahead and acquired that piece of land. and started almost the first moped company. And he said, we will be manufacturing the highest number of mopeds in the world. People asked him, what is the basis for your vision and this dream? He said, there are two people who can compete. One is China and India, because the population is the highest in these two places. And both the countries are not that rich. So they need a cheaper mode of transport. At that time in 1960, he said China is not in the race. So the next on the list is India. And he started. And that is the origin of, and that is the birth of, that is the history of TVS 50 moped. And he also made one thing. The moped that I manufacture will be 100% indigenous, made in India. Every bolt and nut will be made in India. This is the story I heard about how the TVS 50 came into existence. So risk taking is very, very, very important. As an employee, you are not taking a risk. Your employer is taking a risk. So risk taking. The second important function of an entrepreneur is organization building. If you look at what is an organization, organize means put things together. We say he is an organized person. I am organizing a function. Lot of activities are put together. So we call it as an organization. So an organization function is the portfolio, is the function of an entrepreneur. There are raw material, there are machines, and there is a technology, there are people, there is money available. We talk about the resources. So put everything in one place, assembling them in one place to make a product and service. This is called organization building. So the entrepreneur visualizes that there are opportunities for a particular type of business and it can be profitably run. The idea may be exploited in areas of natural resources, or he can talk about an existing business. He develops the idea, assembles everybody put together. Opportunity is very, very important. I want you to make use of this. I want you to write this word, affordability. Affordability. Affordability means more people should be able to buy the product. Today, you take the mobile phone. It is in everybody's hands. There was a time, maybe in 1980s, only rich people can use a mobile phone. Today, an ordinary person, a farmer, a rag picker, a tea vendor, everybody is using a mobile phone. How? It was made affordable. I gave the example of chick shampoo. How once chick shampoo or the shampoo was used only by rich people. But one man thought, why should I not make a sachet? And then he started making chick shampoo. Now everybody is using the chick shampoo. I'm now going to give the story of Karsan Bhai Patel. You may not know his name, but all of you will know Nirma washing powder. During 1980s, he made history making a common man's washing powder, yellow color washing powder. Those days, washing powder means it will be light bluish in color. It will be packed in a particular way, and a particular company will be making it. It is priced at a higher level. Only if somebody says, I am using washing powder, that means you should belong to a particular strata of society. All others were using only textile soap. He was working in as an ordinary person in a soap manufacturing company. He gets the idea, why should I not make it affordable? And then the washing powder Nirma came. I remember in 1980s, there will be an advertisement. A child will come and dance, washing powder Nirma. And the advertisement was such a hit. The moment this song is sung, all the small children will dance, washing powder Nirma. And he started giving a big challenge to companies like Hindustan Lever and Godrej. He took washing powder from house to house, village to village, and made people to realize, come on, you don't have to be rubbing the textile soap. This is very easy. He took buckets and water to teach people how to use washing powder. People were used to use soap. So he expanded the market like anything. And because of his enthusiasm, he was able to build an industry. Today, the washing powder industry consists of Nirma, which started in the mind of one person. That is the organization building. The next function of an entrepreneur is detailed investigation. Detailed investigation. He will estimate the total demand for a product. After determining the prospective demand for goods, he will think of arranging finance for the venture along with the availability of power, labor, raw material, machinery. The work of estimation becomes complicated if it is a new line of business. The estimate should be based on proper analysis of various things. No, he has to think detailed. Let's say that you want to start making facial masks, and people tell that the next 10 years this coronavirus will be there, and more people will start using mask. And what are the things required? Not a big technology. No. What is required is cloth, a stitching. So you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You don't have to discover anything. Thomas Alva Edison invented an electric bulb. Ford invented an automobile. You don't have to invent anything in this. The cloth is available. That's not a very big design. What is required is two loops to put it around your ear. So, detailed investigation. He has to go into the statistics. As I mentioned in the previous lesson, who are all the people using it? How can I make a product which will appeal to everybody? Take, for example, Horlicks. Earlier, somehow the Horlicks drink was linked with the sick people. When somebody is sick, you will go with an Horlicks bottle. I remember some time back when my father was having temperature. I'm talking about several years ago. When people came and gave him a Horlicks bottle, he said, I'm not sick. That was the image. But look at now, Horlicks. For pregnant women, separate Horlicks. For doctors, separate Horlicks. For children, separate Horlicks. For school-going children, separate Horlicks. For senior citizens, separate Horlicks. Okay, so investigation. And where can I procure the land? Today, state governments are offering incentives. They say, come to my state, I'll give you tax concession. There are backward areas. They say, we will help you. And state government is competing with each other. How to make starting of a business easy. So he investigates. It's not that all of a sudden he goes to the market, buys cloth, hires a tailor, stitches it and sells it. No, you can do it. Maybe 10 masks you can make it. You can give it to your friends. And maybe you can even sell it for a profit. But this, if you want to make it and if you want to build an organization, then it's a different ball game altogether. He has to look for finance. Which bank will give me how much money I need? He has to estimate the project cost. Let's say that he wants to make about, let's say, 10,000 pieces per day. 10,000 pieces per day. The 10,000 pieces should be made fast, so machineries are required. He cannot be cutting and stitching by hand. And where are the machineries available? Maybe he has to go and see some people making it already. So that is the detailed investigation we are talking about. Then assembling the requirement is very, very important. After making sure that the proposition is practical and profitable, this is very, very important. It has to be profitable. An entrepreneur is not doing work for charity. He has to make profit. Because unless he makes profit, he cannot sustain. He cannot pay the salary of people. So he persuades some more people to join him. So he forms a small company. He floats a share. Either it is a private company, private limited company, or a public limited company. He will have to acquire patent right, intellectual property rights. For example, if he starts a brand, and if he does not register, somebody will make the same product. The moment it becomes popular, let's say that you start a company called XI-Z mask company. You work very hard. Then everybody wants to go and ask for XI-Z. Then anybody can make XI-Z and then sell it, duplicates. If you have registered your brand, then you can go and fight a case and say nobody shall manufacture XI-Z brand. I will only make it. Right. So he selects a factory site, whether to buy a piece of land or to go for lease or to acquire an existing mask making company. There are people wanting to sell maybe. Maybe a bunion manufacturer company would like to sell it and go. He may not be interested in continuing, or he may not know how to make a mask. He can go and buy that. Right. And one more thing, let me complete in today's lesson. Financing the proposition. You need money. In fact, the bigger the scale, the more money you require. So the entrepreneur decides about the capital structure of the enterprise. The requirements of finance are estimated first, then the sources from which the money will come are all determined. How much money I should bring. Supposing I bring my brothers and sisters and my friends, 10 of us join together to start a private limited company. I have to decide how much money I should put. Maybe I won't have a major stake on this, so I will say out of, let us say, 10 lakhs of rupees, I will bring in 5 lakhs. And I can get 5 more people, each of them will invest some money. Or I decide, no, I need more money. And others say, no, we have only this much money. He should go to the banker, nearest bank, and work out a plan. Then the banker will ask you, what is the business plan? He will ask him to tell me what is the cost of manufacture, at what price you want to sell, what is your strategy. He has to make a presentation. Right. Now, there is an example given when the Infosys proprietor or the founder, Narayana Murthy, wanted to start his business. He borrowed money from his wife, Sudha Murthy, gave him 10,000 rupees. That's how the business is started. Today, it's a huge organization. Maybe 20 years, 30 years. So, the financing is very, very, very important. In fact, you need money. Today, the customer may not be willing to give you cash and take it immediately. He may ask for 3 months' time. The supplier will ask immediate money. So, you need to invest. You have to run the business. For example, there could be a crisis today because of COVID-19. Many things are not selling. Theater industry, for example. Taxi industries, for example. Travel industry, for example. You need money. We talk about liquidity of a company. So these are the entrepreneurial function. So when you see an entrepreneur, he is doing all this. In the next lesson, we are going to understand what is called managerial function. See you in the next class. All the best.